My name is Steve Simmons and I'm from Arvada, Colorado. We built a 75 by 40 footprint barndominium that was initially supposed to be a horse barn, and then once we ran all the numbers, we decided to turn it into a house. So instead of the traditional barn look, we went straight up to add more space, and then decided that it made it financial sense to turn half of it into a house versus building a barn then a separate house. So saved us close to over $1 million or plus from taking a different approach. So yeah, 4 beds, 3 baths, 2,400 square foot on the house side, and then about 1,800 square foot garage side with another 600 foot mezzanine that's raised in the garage for extra storage, and we turned it into a craft area. We built it for our family, so it's a legacy thing, something we definitely want to keep forever. It's on 18 acres. It's a beautiful piece of land right near Grand Lake, Lake Granby and Shadow Mountain Lake up there in the mountains. We decided to turn it into a revenue generator when we're not using it. So it's on AirBNB, it's on VRBO. And once we listed it just before Memorial Day, we almost booked out the entire summer, even being a new listing. So it definitely, if you're comfortable with it, we're able to lock out the garage. So that's where I keep tractors and ATVs and kayaks and toys and stuff like that, and utilize the house part of the rental and all the space around with the land to drive revenue when we're not using it. So it works out awesome. What we did initially and what was fun is just the virtual design tool, right? So I spent a lot of time just thinking about space and size, and my wife's European and everything in America is bigger, it seems, and so when I started designing it, she thought it was gigantic, but ultimately it's the house side is not too crazy. But we chose a metal building for a number of reasons. It was during COVID when we started, we bought the property, the land, and we started exploring home builders, log cabins, the prefab, the ones they splice together, and the prices of those were not only insane, it wasn't a complete package. So you could buy a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom prefab cabin house, and you'd be looking at $1.2 million for a 2,000 square foot thing, and that wouldn't include the final carpentry to get all the siding done, the walls spliced, everything else. So the numbers were insane. Whether it's Breckenridge, Vale, Grand Lake, whatever, you're looking at a lot of time to queue up for 2, 3, 4 years to even be considered that they'll take your job, because there's too much demand and a terribly low supply. So we went with metal building. It's fireproof. We were able to fabricate it off-site, design it, in Colorado. Me and my wife designed it ourselves, and then, get it all ready and shipped over to Colorado. I think it was about 6 months from the time I put the order in until it showed up on the property. And, that gave me time to put the foundation in and get ready to rock and roll for the build. Just thinking about long-term wear and tear and care. So everyone up there, all my neighbors, they're painting their house every 5 years. They're repatching, splinted wood, rot damage, everything else. And so for the longevity of a metal building, the frame will last forever. And I think you can count on a good 30, 40 years out of the siding and the roof. And so ultimately, I don't want to be up at high altitudes in crazy climates dealing with repairs. And so not only cost savings, the time it took me to complete it against all the other challenges that were going on. So saving a ton of money and having a piece of material that will last for a long time without maintenance. So Ray picked up the phone, right? So I was able to get in contact with her early on in the ordering process, finding out where things were, what the timeline was. And she always went to bat to get the information I needed to be able to schedule subcontractors ahead of time, because they were scarce, hard to come by. When you get one, you need to start planning the build out. And so understanding when the materials would get there, what delays were happening on their end because of the steel shortage and the steel crisis, and then be able to plan on very short build windows up there, which are barely only 5 months when you don't have frozen ground and snow all over the place. Like I mentioned before, she solved on-site problems too for me to help, with welding and some other issues that got taken care of very quickly and allowed me to continue without any hiccups on my timeline.